Well, there are actually a lot of very bright people in this building, and Brian Erickson, Ramon Robles, Chad Nakanishi, Melissa Bresner, why not? Lots of very smart people.
Bobian.
And Michael Bobian actually makes them. But most of our parodies, believe it or not, come from listeners. We get, all of us, we get a lot of emails, and the best material you get are from the various perspectives. We just had one that went viral, Abad to the tune of the Sesame Street bit, the Muppets bit. That was sent in by a listener and said, hey, I was listening to this with my kid, and it reminds me of Abad. So we went to Mike Bobian, and 2 hours later, bam, we had it turned out. Sent it around. People just absolutely loved it.
Right on. Joe, this is for you. God bless you. We're thinking good thoughts for you. What are your prime sources for information?
I just make it up, most of it. I get on there and I'm like, damn, man, it's 6 a.m. already? Honestly, you know what the weird part about our job is? We're researching constantly, whether it's that traffic light's too long at the corner, or my wife had some issue at the elementary school today, or I don't know if you guys announced this yet, Trump is in fact not going to be running for president.
Barry, you called that a week ago.
Yeah, he did. He was all over that.
Well, that was all just press for the next Celebrity Apprentice.
Which they've already announced is going to start 1 year from now. So, I mean, Donald Trump is the greatest self-promoter. But as far as information goes, television, my kids, my wife, radio, I steal from Barry all the time. Michael Barry.
And we all do that.
Who doesn't steal from Barry?
I basically, if you listen to my show, it's Michael Barry's show the night before. I mean, the sources of information are this group. I'll talk about this tomorrow. Absolutely. So it's just anywhere, basically anywhere. You grab the information wherever it is.
But, I have to give credit where it's due. I did a morning show for a very brief period of time, and I will tell you the hardest show in radio, I think we'll all agree, is the morning guy. Because by the time Garf comes on, he's had the benefit of hearing what Pags had to say about it, and other people on the internet. Then by Dave, and then by the time I come in, I've been able to process and synthesize a lot of different opinions about an issue. When you're up, and he's up before he's on the air by at least 30 seconds, and you're up that early, you are looking at the news without the benefit of anyone responding. And that's not always real easy to do. And you're being asked not just to announce that news item, but to offer perspective without anyone else to rely on. And that is not easy.
I did mornings for like 82 days. It took me that long to find another job. I was like, I do not want to do mornings.
That's great.
I do not want to do, and I don't know how you do it.
Dave has trouble getting in by noon.
I know. I used to be on at 11. I couldn't make that. Garfield was already covered for me, so they just said, let him come in at noon. It'll be fine.
Sometimes he would just stay up all night.
I was telling the powers that be in the building that 3 hours is tough for me, so they said, well, why don't you go till 10 instead?
Exactly.
So then, all right, let's do 4. All right.
Well, and Michael Barry, how many hours do you do on the radio?
I do fewer than Pags does. I do 2 to 5 on the 950, and then 5 to 7 on KTRH.
That's 3 hours. I filled in, and I did 3 hours. That's a long haul. 4 hours is a long time, but you guys bring so much content to your program and also interact with the listeners. Now, along those lines, people say that you yell at your listeners, Joe.
No, it's not true.
That's just the people who listen.
Next question. Next question, Dave. What's interesting is I'm Italian. I'm hot-blooded. I've got a temper. I've got a sense of humor. I've got all of that, but I especially want to win. And I mean this definitely. If there's a conversation that's going to go on, what we do, and all the guys on this panel do the same thing. We decide where we are on something, and then we go for it. But we're also smart enough, I hope, I try to be, these guys are, to know what the other side's going to bring. So when somebody calls in and they want to debate me, or they want to challenge me, or they want to bring it, they really think they're bringing something new, like I didn't think about it. Like, I think Barack Obama's policy on fill-in-the-blank sucks. I won't just say that if I can't back it up, or if I don't already know what your side's going to be. So it does get frustrating sometimes. It's never, ever, for me, a radio bit. If I sound mad or angry, or I raise my voice, or if I'm really sarcastic or facetious or whatever, it's real. And the thing is, through 22 years of broadcasting now, people have been saying, well, why don't you calm down a little bit? It's worked for 22 years. I think we're doing okay.
And besides, after you insult them, if you say "I love you like a brother,"
I love you like a brother. You know where that came from? Here, honest engine. I would get an email from somebody who said, "You are an FS," and every other letter you can think of, and then at the end they'd say, "Regards, Bob." Regards me. So I started that "love you like a brother, love you like a sister," or whatever. After I really light into somebody, but it also, that's also a mechanism to make me lighten it up a little bit. At the end of the conversation, realize that this is just somebody who's listening to my show, who has an opinion, and it's okay to go at it a little bit, and when we leave, we'll shake hands.
But isn't that the essence of really this conversation that we're having? Regardless of whether we differ, at the end of the day, we hope that we have the same dreams and ideals, and we do love each other like brothers.
I always intend for us to walk away and shake hands, or a chest bump, or a smack in the ass, whatever you got to do. Unfortunately, I think sometimes the listener thinks that I hate them and they want me to die. But at the end of the conversation, if we could walk away and smile and say, all right, I see where you're coming from. Dude, you're dead wrong, but I love the show. I mean, then I feel good about what we do.
And that's the beauty of America. We have the right to be offensive. We have the right to be offended. No one was guaranteed that nobody would have their feathers ruffled.
Right, absolutely.
Now, your style on the radio has changed a lot over the years, Michael Berry. You seem to be more animated on the radio, and it's not just the parodies and some of the other entertainment you're bringing. It seems that your passion has ratcheted up. Is that because you feel that times are more desperate, that it's more imperative that you convey your thoughts, or is that just the natural evolution of Michael Berry?
Probably the natural evolution. I study a lot of talk hosts around the country and in this market. I go back and listen to shows, and I think, did I present myself well? And you grow and develop as a talk show host. I'd had other careers. I'd been a politician before. It's a very different role you play. And when I came onto the radio, I carried that with me. And it took me a while to develop, kind of my voice and who I wanted to be and what I wanted to project. And I think it took me a few years to get there. And I also feel like there are certain areas where I have credibility that took me years to build, and I feel comfortable talking about it. I talk about race in a way that makes people very uncomfortable, but I can go home at night knowing that what I said I feel was honest and pure and true. And if that makes someone else uncomfortable, fine. But to me, that's something that is hard for people to do, and I wanted to bring something to that conversation because to me, that's at the core of politics.
Well, and race. I mean, everyone has that conversation at home, in the backyard, at the barber shop, in the locker room.
That's my problem. I live with 2 Indians and 1 Ethiopian, and I'm a white guy, so I don't get to have it at home. So I'm angry, and I have to do it.